Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Hey everyone, it's George the Antique Nomad with you again. We thought we'd try to get one last stop in, so we went back to Cadiz. We made a big circle on the Highway 6880 sale this year, and we thought maybe there'll be a few things open late because they had a bunch of vendors in the parking lot. And when we drove up here, oh boy, there was a big crowd. It turns out that no, most of the antique shops and the people selling on the 6880 sale are gone, but there is a really cool vintage related event happening, and I thought we ought to just show you a few minutes of this because it's something I personally really enjoy, and we'll do some window shopping along the way. So let's have some fun. You'll see these little porcine pals around Cadiz because it is a pork producing area and the county seat. And it's also a big antique stop on I-24 and Highway 6880, which is where the big sale is. So I'm walking up the street and I see this car. It looks kind of abandoned, like someone needs help. And I found the owners and they said, "Oh no, we're part of the show." And I said, "What show?" Well, it's a classic car show, and I love classic cars. I drove 5 Studebakers over the course of my lifetime. I grew up with a Rambler in the family. I just was obsessed with old cars from the moment I was a very, very young child. So this is right up my alley and right up the antique alley as well. And so we'll do a little window shopping along the way. Unfortunately, we don't have any vendors out selling at this point. I guess it's just too late, but this place is great. I did a video about it before. They have really neat stuff, and it is a fun place to shop. So I wanted to at least show you a few tantalizing things through the window, including I love these slag glass lamps, and look how nice that is with the scenic shade. Apparently the local car clubs figured out that the Highway 6880 sale is a perfect time to come once a year to Cadiz and have their car show, because you've got all these antiquers, all these junkers, all these people who love vintage and old stuff, and then you put the old cars in. It's just a perfect match. Lots of antique towns have car shows as one of their attractions during the year. And this car is really cute. It's an old Austin London taxi. And look, it's even got the for hire. And there it goes, puttering down very slowly as the taxis do in London. I don't think that was ever made to have any giddy up at all, but it's sure cute. Well, we're definitely going to see some American iron here, and when Chevy was the king of the road, this was one of the hottest cars they made, especially for the power to weight ratio, because it had a 400 cubic inch engine in a medium-sized car instead of a big gigantic one, so it could really haul. Funny thing is, nowadays your mom's Honda 6-cylinder probably gets the same kind of performance, but we have much different technology 50 years later. This is a real beauty though. Now you could strap this back on a tractor and have a different form of transportation. I like this very much. This anchor, it's a decoration, but it's hand forged, 95. I could sell that in Florida. My college buddy had a 68 Camaro, and now he's grown up and he has a 67 Barracuda instead. So once you're a car collector, it gets in your blood. Well, since we're talking cars, I wanted to share one thing that I found on the Highway 6880 sale today relevant to the car world, and that is this hood ornament. She's very graceful because she was designed by that man there. If you collect pinups, you will recognize that swoosh on the right, that stripe, as being the Y in Petty, and Petty, George Petty, was a very famous pinup artist along the lines of Elkgren and Varga and all those folks. And he designed these hood ornaments, it turns out, for Nash in 1950, which is pretty amazing because Nashes were a big bulbous affair. Now, the Nashes were very streamlined. They were the most aerodynamic cars on the road in 1950, but that was because they looked like giant bathtubs turned upside down. So she was a very graceful addition to a rather clumsy looking car, and I just think she's wonderful. I was so excited to see that because I knew Petty. I did not realize he had designed these for Nash, so this is something to look for. Even in this condition, this should be worth well over $100, and I paid less than half of that. At least in North America, cars are part of the shared experience, and it is something that really is fun for people. Everybody remembers a favorite car. They remember what their parents had. They have happy memories of trips as kids or adults, and you know, it just makes it so much fun to see and reflect. It takes you right back to that first time you saw one of these. I first saw a Mazda Miata when I had one as a rental car in Hawaii when they were new, so time marches on, doesn't it? 57 Chevy across the street, an old Chevy truck, and then this 57 Chevy. The 57 Bel Air is a beautifully styled car that was a real sleeper for a long time. They really didn't sell as well as expected when they were new. That had more to do with an unexpected recession that year. But people really see it as an icon now. Even though the Bel Air had a tiny little motor, this is a genuine one there. Not a real gutsy car. But frankly, that's okay with me because I've always been a fan of family cars. That's what most people remember. I know sports cars are great and fun and worth more, but you give me a four-door sedan that's in this kind of condition, and that was reality. That's what people were excited to buy. When your dad came home with a new car, it probably looked a lot more like this than a sports car, unless he was having a midlife crisis. My dad did come home with a Mustang at one point. Anyhow, this is a trophy winner as well, so orphan cars can do very well at car meets. It's not all just about the big three American. Good thing I've got a zoom lens, but I understand. I would want people to stay away from my car if it looked like this too. Look at the suicide doors. This is an old Ford Coupe. These were very popular to turn into hot rods back in the 50s. Hot rodding was a really big deal then because you could make an old car into something really beautiful that you wanted and was custom. Window shopping this place again. I never seem to catch them when they're open. I will have to come back and film because it really looks like a good store, and they have Ham Festival shirts. What else is in the window here? Oh, I see some brass and the Canada dry crate. That's different than you usually see. This bike is cool that she's left chained up. Oh, and the blow molds down here. There's some good ones. I like the candles and especially the creche. Well, I'll try not to run into that woman's car in my quest to get to the Ford Thunderbird, but wow, what a beautiful car. These are the 55 and 56 with the downturned grille. They were so far ahead of their time. They were designed in response to the Studebaker 1953 Starlight Coupe that far outsold expectations, and so Ford and Chevy realized that it was time for them to do sports cars as well. And what a beauty Ford came up with. They did retro versions of these in the 2000s, and you can see the styling cues that they took. It just looks good from every angle. Oh, and look behind there. Oh, it's a Studebaker. I'm so happy when I see a Studebaker at a meet because, you know, they've been out of business for over 50 years and you don't see them so much anymore. And this is a really nice one. This is a late 30s truck, and it's a truck built on a car frame like an El Camino would be. They came up with that idea long before El Camino and Ranchero, because it was a good way to get things around in the Depression and have it still be economical. And it's got the nice restoration with the wood slats in the bed of the truck. It's just beautiful. Now for resellers, do look for accessories because people love old car accessories. And the guys who, and I should say women as well, because there are women who are car enthusiasts. There were a bunch in my Studebaker club, and they spend money on their cars. It is their passion, and they collect everything related. The poor maligned Corvette. I had a friend with one of these in college. It was not a good car. This one looks like it's in mint condition though. And this one was the 64. This was when General Motors quietly fixed all the problems that plagued the earlier model. And the earlier model turned out to be rather dangerous, and Ralph Nader wrote the book Unsafe at Any Speed based on the problems with that car and other problems with the car industry and roads and safety in America, and became very famous as a result. Chevy then replaced this with the Nova, and that was a much stronger car that lasted a lot longer. I remember in the 70s that both Cheryl Ladd and Farrah Fawcett from Charlie's Angels did ads for these cars. This one's a 79. It is a Ford Thunderbird. See how different than the original Ford Thunderbird that we saw. Ooh, there's a disco ball in the back end. Look, Casey and the Sunshine Band. So I have a friend who loves big 70s cars, so that one's for you. Passing a nice 67 Mustang there, and then we see this souped up and kind of lowrider-ish Oldsmobile. My dad had this car in a four-door. It was not nearly as wonderful as this one is. This one is a Jetstar 88, and that meant that it had a lot of beefed up parts and could go pretty darn fast. Let's see what else is here. Oh, I learned to drive on this. My dad bought this. This was his I want an old classic car attempt, and he got a hardtop with the pony interior. It was a wonderful car to run around in as a teenager. On the other hand, this would have been even more wonderful. The Shelby GT is a very fast, very expensive car then and now. Well, you know it's a good party if they call out the police. And this looks like an accident, but that was deliberate. They parked the two four-wheel Jeeps up on top of the one with the flared tires. Now, I had a Jeep once, but it didn't look like this. This is a Willys Jeep from the 50s when they were being sold as trucks for farmers and as even passenger vehicles rather than just strictly for the military. Now, it was a really cute design, but Vegas were not meant to be racers, and yet a lot of them have been turned into funny cars and other race cars because of the light body and a very aerodynamic design. Those were the things Chevy got right. The cars were so badly built when they were new, though. I had a friend who bought one and drove it back to the lot and made the guy give him his money back because parts fell off of it on the way home. What a fun show and a great town. I just love the vintage cars, and I am so happy I got to share them with you. We have a summer full of fun to look forward to, and I look forward to sharing a bunch of adventures with you too. So see you soon here on the Antique Nomad, and bye-bye for now.
Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.